All right, so we are recording now. So Day and Jess, I'm gonna turn it over to you and I'll just keep an eye on the chat. And if anything comes up, I'll let you know.
Awesome. So good morning, everybody. My name is Jess Koshi-Lum. I'm the Associate Dean of the library.
I'm Day Zhang. I'm the instructional librarian at RTC. I'm one of the 3 faculty librarians within the library.
And we're so excited to talk about this brand new cool tool called Pressbooks. So some of you may have heard about it in passing, but we really want to share with you this new tool that can help propel your OER, open educational resource efforts. We recently subscribed to this subscription, maybe not too long ago, I think like 2 months ago. And so it's brand new for this institution. And we're so excited to share it with you during this Happy Aloha Friday. And so Pressbooks in general is a formatting software that's built on WordPress. So you may have heard about WordPress before, you know, with a blog or something like that. Basically, what we're trying to say is that Pressbooks takes a little bit of learning up front, but it's not too hard to use once you get all the pieces together and you're learning about the different steps. And so we're going to be talking about Pressbooks in general, and then Dave's going to be showing you a demonstration on how to create a textbook, so you can have a sense of, okay, you know, if we're doing it here, maybe I can do it during the summer, and I can make a cool textbook, or maybe like not even a full-on textbook. Maybe you can have like a chapter book of exercises or something really short and condensed. And so I want to show you how cool it is. When I was in the training for Pressbooks, I was just blown away. I was just like, oh, that is so neat. I don't know about you guys, but when I see a new tool, I'm like, ooh, sparkly. What is this about, right? It's so cool. And so I want to show you what a finished Pressbook textbook looks like. And do I have the ability to share? Awesome. So I will share my screen. Do you see this Introduction to Community Psychology book? Awesome. So this is an example of a Pressbook textbook. It's called Introduction to Community Psychology. It has the authors or the editors here, and it gives you a good description of what this textbook is about. What's nice about these textbooks is that when you make your own, this is going to be completely free for your students to access. So they don't have to worry about, you know, their textbooks costing $100 and they have to worry about tuition as well. It kind of eliminates that worry from their mind, which is nice. So this textbook has a basic description. So this textbook will show you how to comprehensively analyze, investigate, and address escalating problems of economic inequality, etc. Over here, you'll have options on how you can download this book. So we have plenty of options here for students to choose from EPUB files to PDF files. If your student has internet connectivity issues at home, one of the things that they could do is they could download one of the PDF files onto their device on campus. And then when they're looking at their phone or their laptop at home, they'll have access to it. They don't need internet to access this, which is great. You have the Creative Commons license right over here. So that gives you the license to kind of use this book and adapt it. You just need to provide the proper attribution or give credit when credit is due when you're adopting this book. And also you can read the book over here online, which is really nice. The area that's kind of cool to kind of take a look at is this contents or table of contents area. So if you're assigning a chapter out of this book, you can go down here and students can click into the chapters that they want to see. So say, for example, you're assigning a chapter, maybe chapter 8, Respect for Diversity. They can click into that And then they can look into the chapter right over here, which has the objectives. You know, by the end of this chapter, you will be able to do X, Y, and Z. You can include pretty pictures to make it really interesting for the students to go through. Another cool thing that you can do with these books is that you can embed keywords within the text that you're writing. And so see how that respect for diversity is not highlighted, but it's in a different color. If you click on it, it can give you that definition of what that keyword is about. So it's really a cool way to kind of go through that learning in general. Another cool thing about Pressbooks is that you can embed what is known as H5P activities. And what that basically means is that it's a way for you to embed interactive activities within your textbook, which can make the learning a lot more exciting than just a static print textbook. And so I can show you what I mean by if you go to read a book, you can go over here. You have your usual suspects, like your table of contents will be on this page with the chapters over here. And then they have some really fun H5P activities. This author chose to put it at the end of their book in chapter quizzes. So H5P activities could be anything from like a quiz that you can embed, or maybe you can do a multiple choice, like just one question, and you can embed that within your textbook. But this is kind of what it looks like. You can go through the quiz, you can start it. It'll ask you some questions and students can go through these questions, click on their answer, and then they can also check their answer to make sure that they're right. So it looks like if it's green, it's good to go. You can always retry your answers. Maybe if you didn't get it right on the first time, you can always try again. And then you can go through the quiz. It's pretty a neat process that students can go through. I'm trying to think about what else. There's so many cool things to show about this platform. Another thing that they can do is you can clone or adapt your books. All you need to know to do that is to go through a directory, like a Pressbooks directory. And let me show you a common one. I'll share my screen one more time. So Rebus community is a really good Pressbooks directory. Of course, you can go to pressbooks.directory and it gives you a lot of different books that you can take a look at. So if you're teaching Spanish, if you're teaching communication studies, if you're teaching computer science sometimes, you know, you don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel as you're crafting the textbook. You can jump into any of these textbooks. Say, for example, I like the Spanish book. You know, you can go into that if you want to and check it out. To clone the books, you just need the link for the book, and then Day will show you how to do that when we get to those demonstrations. But it's just a really neat way to kind of take a look and see what's available and how to implement it into your class. So with that, I kind of want to turn it over to Day, who's going to do some demonstrations for us.
Thanks so much, Jess. I just want to go over real quick. So for any of you who are at RTC and you want an account and you want to start creating textbooks, I believe the administrator is Jess, and you would just ask her for a link to send you, and then you sign up. Super easy. So I did this the other week, and I've been testing, you know, like creating books and stuff, and I want to show you kind of this process. There's a lot of features and there's a lot of information. There's a guidebook that goes into detail about everything you need to know, but I'll just show you today the basic features, and I'll share my screen now as well. Okay, so once you've gotten, you've created your account, getting your link from Jess, you'll go into kind of this screen. And this dashboard here is all the tools you need to create your book. We're going to create one from scratch. And you see right here that I have cloned a book. We'll talk about that later, about how I did that. This book is called the OER Starter Kit, and it was found using that Pressbooks.Directory website. So we'll go to create a new book. Okay, and this just gives you kind of an idea of, you know, basic information about what you're doing. But here we're going to do the book title. Let's do June 4 because it's 4. That June 1 one was a previous one I tried. Okay, that's going to be my book title. Would you like your book to be visible to the public? Right now, I'm just going to leave it at yes. And you can change it back and forth. Like if you are going in and editing, changing something, you could set it back to private so that it's not accessible. Or you could keep it on private and just give access to specific, students, contributors, editors, etc. So it's very customizable, is I guess what I'm saying. And oh, sorry if my connection is a little slow. Here we go. So here you see this is the main breakdown that you start with. There's the front matter, there's introduction, main body, and then you can start getting into chapters. But these are the main elements, right? And then what I want to show is if we go to visit book, and you can always toggle back and forth just to see what the, what it would look like to someone who has that link to the viewer. So you'll see that we got the title here, we've got the author, and then we've got contents, book information. This is the metadata and book information about the book. Going back here, and anytime you make a change, I like to kind of do the visit book just to see like, oh, what does this look like in the final form? I also want to show you how to add users. So here is where you do that. If you go to add, you'll see there's different roles. There's subscriber, contributor, author, editor, administrator. And those are going to allow different abilities for the person. Let's say I want Jess to be my contributor, co-contributor. I literally just type in her email and then I click add existing user. And then she will get a link. She'll be able to go in and, put stuff in alongside me. So we can create this together. Now, let's see here. Subscriber, that role, I believe, is something that, if you choose that option, they will be able to view, right? So that's a way to include them as a reader of the material. And then there's let's see here. And bear with me, again, I am still new to this. So figuring some of where, everything lives, does take a little bit of time, like Jess said, but it's one of those things where, the more you play with it, the more you kind of test it out, the more comfortable you get, as with anything. Right now I want to move on to kind of editing like the book info, right? So let's see here. Book info is where we go to take a look at all the information about the book. So there's the title. We can add a short title as well and a subtitle. We've got the author, and if we want to add another author, so this information is going to live in the book info part of the book, right? That's going to be like kind of like your cover pages. And so it's where it says author, this is different than the, contributor or, editor. That section that I showed you is about access, who has access to it, who can do what role. But this is really what is listed as the author field in the book. Hope that is clear, but if you have a question, I see there's some questions in the chat maybe. Oh no, okay. If anybody spots a question, feel free to just, say
You
it out
greatly
loud.
stimulated everyone's minds. So it's like everyone's like,
All kinds of ideas.
We're really excited.
Cool. And then here's additional fields that you would find in a book, right? There's editor, translator, reviewer. So these fields are, as you see, these titles are a little different than the ones I just showed you previously. And again, it's because these are traditional fields in a book. And especially if you're thinking about creating a book, I guess there's different kinds of press books, right? You might want one that you want to be super interactive and just live online, or you might want one that is really easy to print out and has all the information there. A student can download it, like Jess said. They don't need internet. It's not like the Canvas thing. They can access that material by just downloading and keeping it. If you want it to really focus on like that aspect, you'll probably, and actually maybe get it published, you'll want to fill out these fields, publisher and publisher city. There's even ISBN and other identifying features that you can add in. And again, this is more kind of thinking about, oh, if I want this also as a traditional book. Okay, but right now I'm just going to save everything, hit save on this right-hand side.
Hey, Dave, does it cost to get an ISBN number?
That's a great question. Does Jess, do you have knowledge of that?
I don't, but we can look that up and see.
Yeah, we can get back to you on that.
I was just curious. It's not that important.
It's definitely an important question. So as always, we can go back to the dashboard, hit dashboard, and see this part. And I also, let's see, if we go to, one second. I'm trying to remember exactly how to do the private versus public settings. And I know okay, I may come back to that. Or I know some of you in this in this webinar have attended the intro training. So if you remember how to go to the privacy part, feel free to pop that in the chat or mention it. But I'll come back to that. Also, organizing sections. So, right, if we go into organize, you'll get this view. And there's some preset ones that you can change. So show in web means that this is going to show up in the web version, right? And then exports, again, those are the files. Those are the, you know, when you're wanting to print, you know, your PDF file, etc. So let's say that we have a certain chapter that we only want in the web version because it's got a lot of those, you know, HP5 interactive features. We don't want it in the exports, so we'll just uncheck that, right, for that particular one. So you can choose what shows up where. And then I also want to show you how easy it is to add parts, right? So it comes preloaded with the introduction, the main body. So there's front matter, there's the main body, and then there's the back matter. Those are standard. But if, say, you want to add a part, this part is going to be the main body 2. Whoops, not exclamation. 2. All right. And then we'll go back. Let's see. We'll view the part, and this is the main body, but we can go back in. Okay. Hang on, let's go back to the organize. And you'll see there's a main body 2. Let's say I want chapter 2 within the second part. Chapter 2. And we'll create that chapter. And it's going to live in that second main body part. Oops, thought I did save it. Create. Save. Okay, and I believe we can even drag this up. Let's say I want both chapters in the main body. I can just click and drag from section to section. Any questions on that?
Day, I have a question. This is Leslie.
Yeah. Hey, Leslie.
Hi, thank you. This is fabulous, number one. So the different versions that this can be downloaded in, I'm just curious because I know you started to check off some things that maybe you didn't want to show in exports. For example, if there were a lot of embedded YouTube videos or MP4 files, music files, how does that, do you have any idea as to how those come out if it's like a PDF? I'm assuming in a PDF form, those aren't going to be playable. Is that?
Yes.
Obviously,
So
right?
it's really easy to embed in the web version. A
Right.
YouTube video, you just paste in the link. When it
Right.
comes to printing it out, it'll have the image of the YouTube video, for example, and it will have the link. And it will have a note saying, this is not accessible because it's the print version, but click this link or go to this link for the video. So it still gives you a way to get there in the book form, but it's just not interactive.
What about the EPUB files? Do they have interactive media available, or are they too like a PDF format?
That is a question I don't have the answer to.
That's no problem.
That's something we might consult the guide.
Okay.
And again, it's guide.pressbooks.com.
Right. Okay.
And if someone could pop that into the chat too, maybe that'd be helpful.
Already did.
But yeah, thank you. But this has like way more than I could possibly cover here. And way more than I know. Oh, here, look, we've got, so it looks like under the organized tab is where we have the global privacy, right? So the public is where you literally can just copy this part of the link. Basically, you know, the openwall.pressbooks.pub, and then whatever your title is. If you copy this, if anybody, you know, were to copy this, I'm already logged in, but if you weren't logged in, since it's set to public, anybody can access that. Whereas if it's private, only the users that we can invite, right? The contributors, editors, whoever I have added within those permissions, those are the people that can access. And you can very easily go back and forth. It's really up to you. Okay, now I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about editing the chapters. So I'm going to go into a chapter. And as you see, it comes preloaded with this little text. This is the first chapter in the main body of the text. And again, if you've used, you know, Canvas, which you have, or the Pressbooks, this editing, you know, menu, the options are pretty much the same or really similar. So there's a lot of cool stuff here. One thing I did want to show is that, let's see, is the glossary feature. Let's see. Let's say I want to do a glossary term. You know how Jess highlighted one of those terms in the psychology textbook? Well, this is how you create it. You highlight the term, you click the GL one for glossary. And then in the description, you can say chapters are, you know, smaller sections of a book, or whatever definition you want to, and then you insert, right? And it looks like this in your editing feature. But if we were to go to here, oops, go to chapter 1. Oh, maybe I didn't save.
Yeah.
Save it. Let's do that. Oops. Look at that. It's highlighted. And so it's really easy. And this is a great feature because if you're, you know, you've got a textbook and you want to explain a bunch of vocabulary, so easy to do so with this glossary feature. Let's see what else we have. We also have footnotes that you can insert. So just, you know, again, kind of play around with it, see what you might want to format and add in. You know, certainly footnotes and glossary terms are a really common part of textbooks that you'll want to get acquainted with. And then, you know, you can even add in math equations, and it's preloaded with a feature that makes it look really nice. So for example, if I have this, if I want to show the Pythagorean theorem, whoops. These are just labels. I forget the technical term for this code, but you know, you're sandwiching the equation here between this latex label. And then if we save that, you'll kind of see how it pops up as a nice equation here. So for anybody doing like technical and math work, there's a lot of great features here to make it look really nice and seamless. I guess what here's so I've been doing the long route of kind of going to, you know, the visit book, but there's an easier feature here where you can just go to view chapter and it'll take you straight to it. Again, I'm still getting oriented to this a little bit, but the more I practice, the more, you know, I can get to things quicker. And there's also media that you can add, right? So if you have a really cool image you want to upload, not a problem. There's two ways to go about it. You can go to the library. So you can preload your media library. Let's say you know kind of all the images you have all the content like in a Word document, or not Word document, but you have all the content ready already, and you want to upload all your media at once and then just kind of insert the pictures one at a time. You can create the library. And here's where you upload all your images. And then when you're back in the chapter, you can go, you know, you can click on library. Sorry, when you're going back into it, let's just load my library actually. There's me, there's my son Lucas. Let's have that in. Okay. So now we go back to library. That's in there. All right. Now we go back to the chapter. And then we can add whoops. And whoop. Here we go, add new. Huh. Okay. I was trying to figure out how to bring things in from the library into here.
There was a library button there.
There's a library button.
So go to media.
Yeah.
Library. There you go.
True. Maybe I just clicked that. There we go. Okay. Thank you. So there's that way, and then there's just the way of inserting it, you know, whenever you want from wherever you have it saved on your computer. And you have the alt text field that you can do. You can do a caption. And then, okay, let's see here. We don't need any of these fields, right?
It looks like your son is a Red Sox fan.
Yeah, I've got Boston connection, so yep. Hang on a sec. Huh. Thanks for bearing with me here, everybody. Let's see if it shows up, because oh. Okay, all that is saved. Are you all seeing a insert thing?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, because the Zoom controls were blocking it, I think. Let me. Okay, well, as long as we know we can insert it. I'm having trouble with that part. And then we can keep adding to our media library. All right, so, and then we go back to the book. And I want to show you pasting YouTube links as well. And so if we go to YouTube, and let's go to the Renton Technical College library. Did you know that we have dozens of videos that would be helpful to you and your students, such as how to renew an item online, library orientations. So let's say we want to embed a video about writing an allied health paper. Right, all we need to do is copy that link. And it just pops right up. And again, this lives on the web version. If you're going into a print mode, it's going to have a little message that says, this isn't, viewable here, but here's the link. But this is really nice because you can break up the text with images, videos, the other interactive features as Jess kind of showed. There's a lot of ways to make this experience more engaging than a typical textbook. And we'll save that in there as well.
Day, I've got another question.
Sure.
So in that main body of the text, is it possible to insert a check your understanding type question as well, so that it's not an extra step for them to go to a quiz, later on?
Yeah. So you don't have to have like a separate chapter or a section with that interactive material. You can put the quiz or there's like over 40 HP5 interactive features that you can include, and you could put it wherever you want within the chapter. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So I just want to pop in really quick. It looks like it's 9:13. I think technically, Liz, are we supposed to end at 9:15?
We kind of are supposed to end at 9:15, but
I think there are probably a lot of people are excited about this. So as presenters, if you are happy to stick around, I'm sure some of our audience is as well.
I know I can definitely stick around. Real quickly, I'll just show you the cloning feature, if that's cool. So what I did, if we went to the directory, Pressbooks.directory, and let's say I'm looking for, and by the way, there are almost 2,500 books now published, and you can access them for free on this directory. And the one that I went to was, let's see, OER starter kit. Right, so I found an OER starter kit and I clicked inside, and I really love this book and I want to bring this over to our account so that we can add chapters, add things specific to RTC maybe, or just edit. So it's not just about using other people's textbooks. The thing about OER, it's about being able to customize and adapt and really revise for your audience. And so to do that, I just copied the link. And then here where it says my books, you can create a new book, right? Which is what we just did, or we can clone a book. So if you click clone a book, you just input the book URL, and then you can kind of create the target URL, which is the one that's going to be created, the new book, and then the book title. Right, so I've already done that, and I created OER Starter Kit for RTC. And as you see, it transfers, it does the attribution for you, which is really, really nice, right? So all of these have the, if you're cloning a book, it's going to also have the same licensing as that book. And you'll see that when we go down here, the book source, it gives credit to the original author and talks about the license once again, right? So there's several fields that talk about the license and who is the originator. So it makes it super easy to give credit where credit's due. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you all so much.
Great, thanks. Thank you so much, Jess and Day. I think a lot of people are really excited about this. So if it's cool, I'm going to turn off the recording in a second and maybe open it up to a Q&A. But one thing before I turn off the recording, I just wanted to bring up kind of as a comment / question is, I know in the past we've had OER, I can't remember, there's a grant applications, I think, and I think this would be a great kind of companion to that. So my question is, are we continuing with those OER grants? And if so, when is the next one coming up?
That's such a wonderful question. We would need to talk to Stephanie and brainstorm with her about our next steps for another OER grant run. Crossing my fingers that we can have one next school year, but we have to talk to Stephanie first.
Great. I know probably after seeing this, I would be much more likely to I think apply for that, just because it seems like such a friendly way to create OER. So all right, I'm going to stop our recording and then open it up to questions.